Join us now for an insight with Carl Summer.
My desire in writing this book, Noise, 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 was to teach children to learn to appreciate the things that they have. Marcus and Marcella lived in a beautiful home in the forest, but they were always miserable. What made them so miserable? Marcus and Marcella were lazy. They complained about the noise and that they had to work. They hated working so hard to find food. They longed for a quiet place to live where it would be easy to find something to eat. Most children aren't born with a desire to do hard work. We have 5 children, and I wanted to train them to learn how to work. I had them do all sorts of chores around the house. They were required to do dishes, dust, mow the lawn, paint, repair cars, reshingle a roof, or whatever else was needed around the house. I did this to train them for the day when they had to stand on their own 2 feet. One day they would leave my house, so I wanted them to be ready. I'm glad all of my children have graduated from college, and today 3 of them manage my 3 businesses. I'm glad I trained them because it allows me to write and dream of new ideas of how I can help children to become successful. Parents, make it your aim that your children also have fun times with you. Besides training my children, I've also played all sorts of games with them. I spent a lot of time with my children. We went on camping trips all across America. We either camped with a tent or traveled through all 48 states. I could tell you all sorts of stories from my camping adventures. When the chipmunks told Marcus and Marcella at the farmhouse there was lots of good food and no noise, what did they do? They immediately said, "We're going to go there." They went right away to go to the farmhouse. Hasty decisions. How quick we're ready to drop what we're doing to find that pot of gold. How many disasters would be avoided if we would just stop and think? The same applies to the dangerous habit of impulse buying. See something you like and immediately purchase it without thinking if you can afford it. When Mama Beaver wanted to warn Marcus and Marcella about the dangers of living at the farmhouse, she was immediately cut off. They didn't want to hear her advice. The older I get, the more I realize the truth in the adage that in a multitude of counselors there is safety. I stress this often to children. Listen and obey your parents. How many problems children would avoid in life if they would just listen and obey? I've seen this also with grown-ups, children in their 30s and 40s. Because their refusal to listen to parental advice, they live a life of misery. Marcus and Marcella happily marched to their dream home. When they got into the house, they saw that delicious food, and they filled their tummies with it. They were the happiest mice in the world. We probably all witnessed this in life. A false vision, refusal to take advice, and for a moment, euphoria. The dream has come true. Then disaster strikes. The farmer and his wife came into the house. What a dramatic change took place. Marcus and Marcella ran for their lives. A broom nearly landed on top of Marcus. They barely escaped. They began to realize that what they had was not so bad after all. This is a powerful lesson to teach your children. I want to stress, this is not a lesson that we shouldn't strive to better ourselves. It's a lesson to learn to appreciate what we do have and to learn to listen to advice. We don't always have to obey everyone's advice, but if we're wise, we're always willing to listen to what is offered and consider it carefully. In the end of the book, Marcus and Marcella finally learned their lesson, that the easiest way is not always the best way. It's interesting that they heard all that noise around them in the forest, but they didn't hear the words of wisdom from their friends. Only after a life-threatening experience did they learn to appreciate what they already had. It's important to teach children the wise thing for Marcus and Marcella was to listen to the wisdom and warnings before they decided to leave. The story ends on a happy note. I hope you will be encouraged and count your blessing in spite of all the noises that surround you. And go to the website with your children and download things you can be thankful for and discuss them with your children. They're free on our website.